Hello everyone and welcome to WGBS TV Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. My name is Steve Eunice. In this, our November 12th, 2019 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including a new image from Superman Red Son, the animated movie. We're going to be talking about the latest Supergirl episode, never made Superman video games, and so much more. We'll also be opening the lines to ask you to get your involvement in tonight's show and to let you know how all that works and how you can get involved in tonight's show, even through comments and things like that. Let me introduce you to my cold friend sitting across the other side of the world, Mr. Michael Bailey. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Steve. I am in my own personal fortress of solitude, meaning that it's like Ice Station Zebra outside right now. I live in Georgia, so it doesn't get cold often, but the temperature just plummeted today. So I'm in my comfy Superman hoodie sweatshirt, and we want to hear from all of the people that are watching WGBS Live right now on YouTube. To do that, well, it's pretty simple. You need Skype. Get on Skype, find Superman homepage, and message us that you'd like to be part of the show, which we usually do about the halfway mark if we have the time. Now, couple different things. One, please message us, because it can kind of screw things up. And two, more importantly, if you are listening to this show or watching this through external speakers that are not like headphones like Steve and I have, please turn those down, because we are on a delay and that can really mess things up.
Yes, where am I? Here I am. So get involved in tonight's show, and for those tuning in live via YouTube, don't forget there's comments there. Post your comments, fellow fans, read their comments, ask questions. Michael and I will keep an eye on those comments and questions throughout the show, so get involved. And a huge thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. We appreciate your support of the show. So, Mike, cold snap for you over there. Some people have been messaging me, probably seen on the news around different places about some pretty catastrophic fire situation happening here in my neck of the woods around Sydney, Australia. Thankfully, where I live, we're all safe and sound, but it has been an unprecedented early fire season here in Australia, with summer still, half a month away. But we're all safe here, and you're all cold over there. We've got fires. You've got plummeting weather. What's going on?
Yeah, well,
climate control.
We've been having the wildfires on the other side of the country too. So it's just, but they say certain things don't exist. So maybe that's not playing a part in these things. But I'm very glad to hear that you were safe. I was kind of paying pretty close attention to you and your sister's Facebook feed to see if there was anything about you guys having to, evacuate or anything. So I guess that's why you don't have like a background of apocalypse right now.
Just didn't have the time. Set up some flames in the background. But so we joke, but it's been pretty serious around here, and our thoughts to all those people affected by the weather, whether it be one way or the other. But let's get into our show tonight, and off the top, we like to start with some movie news. And while there isn't much at the moment, we did get an image thanks to Gary Monroe. I don't know how you pronounce his surname, but he's the publicity guy at Warner Brothers, and he's a great guy. He's always sending us our merch that we need, gifts, prizes, giveaways, all those kinds of things. And he posted this image on Twitter to kind of hold everybody over, waiting for some kind of anything kind of news about this animated movie. We don't have much yet. All we do know that it will be released in the first quarter of 2020. We have the full cast list there on the website as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Red Son is not one of my favorite Superman stories, but it's an interesting one, and I really like the look of the animation from the stills and such that we've seen. So in the absence of any like other kind of Superman movie news, I guess this is what we're going to be talking about for a while. Between this and the other animated film that's coming out next year.
Yeah, we just don't know too much about anything at this point in time. We do know Red Sun is obviously based on the graphic novel written in 2003 by Mark Miller, which saw baby Kal-El land in mid-1950s Russia instead of Smallville, Kansas, where he grows up to become a Soviet symbol that fights for the preservation of Stalin's brand of communism. We know that we've got Jason Isaacs voicing Superman, Diedrich Bader as Lex Luthor, Amy Acker as Lois Lane, and others including Vanessa Marshall as Wonder Woman, Phil Morris as James Olsen, Paul Williams as Brainiac, so on and so forth. Even Phil Lamar gets a look in as Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart.
Paul Williams, that's an interesting choice for Brainiac. He was he's it's kind of funny to talk about him because some people will be like, oh, he was the voice of the Penguin on Batman the Animated Series. But yeah, he's also a major musician who co-wrote wrote the music for the Muppet Movie and Muppet Christmas Carol and the song Old Fashioned Love Song. I mean, he's kind of a legend, and it's kind of funny that now he's playing Brainiac.
It's funny how so many different voice actors and actors, are multi-talented in so many different aspects of their lives. I mean, you look back to Jack Larson, who played Jimmy Olsen in the 1950s Superman TV series, and was a prolific score writer and musician on that side of things that people didn't really know about, other than knowing him as Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, and went on to be a playwright and a producer, and just actually managed to find a pretty lucrative career outside of acting. Yeah, even George Reeves was a guitar player who loved to sing Spanish ballads, apparently, which is kind of interesting to think of. I'm sure he wasn't wearing the Superman costume on stage when he was doing it, but that's probably how people picture it.
Probably. So yes, we don't know much about Superman Red Sun other than the fact that we've got the voice cast listed there, and it's being directed by Sam Liu, by a script by J.M. DeMatteis, and will be released to DVD, Blu-ray and digital in the first quarter of next year. So we hang on and wait for that. But then we look to the TV side of things, and the latest episode of Supergirl aired in the US there on Sunday, and last night here in Australia. You liked this episode, said it was probably the best of the season so far, giving it a 4 out of 5 rating. It was very much a heavy Lena and Andrea-centric episode, flashing back to their younger days when they were best friends, and the adventure that they went on, the ultimate betrayal, and how that kind of brings us to where things are today, with the revelation that Andrea is the Shadow.
Yeah, I honestly think her being, it's like, does everybody that gets introduced have to end up being like a costumed hero or villain? And it's really kind of a weak costume too. It's just it's kind of like they just they just dyed Dreamer's costume black and
her mask,
threw it on her. And her mask. However, having said that, I was pleasantly surprised by this episode. It's kind of funny. I've been saying all season that Lena is kind of the superstar of this season, which is kind of sad because you really want Supergirl to be like the big thing about it. She's not getting a whole lot of screen time, it seems, in these episodes, but seeing Lena and Andrea and how they met in private school and how they became friends and they bonded over Titanic, and then it makes me realize, oh my God, that's something that is gonna I was trying to do the calculations in my head about how old they are, and I'm just like, so they were teenagers in the 90s? I wasn't quite sure how that worked, but watching Andrea do exactly what Lena would have done in her circumstances. Yeah. I have absolutely no doubt that if that was flipped, that Lena would have taken that coin in a heartbeat.
100%.
And I could see her betrayal, and I see her being, feeling betrayed by Kara because Kara didn't tell her she was Supergirl until later. But man, her boyfriend didn't do anything. He was totally willing to support her. He wanted to help her. He wanted to get her through everything that she'd gone, and she just left him. So apparently, once again, it's okay for Lena to be the one to leave, but man, everyone's against her.
Now, John's asking, why doesn't this new villain have a name? I think they didn't. They named her as the Shadow, and
something like that.
Then you've got Rip Raw, and yeah, her boyfriend just got the short, the rough end of the stick, or whatever you want to call it. He didn't do much. He didn't do anything at all. He just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and in a relationship with the wrong woman. And then he seems to be pretty okay with it, especially after he got beaten up. Then he's lying there on that operating table about to get something spliced into his body, and he's like, it's okay. It's like, what? How is this okay? How's any of this okay?
How is any of this okay? It was cool that they brought that character back. That was Lena's boyfriend, whose name was, I think it was Jack, because he was in, was that a first season or a second season episode that he was in?
Yeah, probably second.
Yeah, because he was. It was second. It would have had to be second because it's when they moved to Vancouver.
Yeah,
and he was. That's where they shoot, or they shot because the show's over. The iZombie show because he was part of that.
That's right.
But I have to give it up to the Supergirl people, though. Man, they can layer in flashbacks and make it feel natural.
Yeah, it worked well, didn't it? I mean, I was surprised to see John Cryer. Were there some scenes there that were new with John Cryer?
There were. I'm wondering if those scenes were shot for last season and they just had some on the floor and they just incorporated here. Either way, it was really cool to see because, it's like now it's like when they had an introductory thing of, my name is Kara Zor-El and all that. They went from that stupid shadow shot of Superman to Tyler Hoechlin landing at the DEO or walking out at the end of the second season. Actually seeing Lex and not like them carting off a bald guy from behind. It just gives everything more weight. It's like last year when they went through all the flashbacks of Lex. I'm just really shocked that they're able to kind of layer that in and not make you feel like they're adding anything super new. Like everything that they talked about really felt like this is how it could have happened. Like seeing Kara and Lena meet up at that restaurant. When we watched them in the second season and into the third, they were just friends. It's just like they were just natural friends. But they kind of had to explain her standoffishness, and having that scene kind of made me feel like, oh, okay, this is just more of the backstory. It's kind of sad that the best episode of the season was basically a bunch of exposition.
So true. One thing that kind of took me out of the episode a little bit was Melissa Benoist's forehead. They obviously were doing flashback scenes where she had her old hairstyle. But now that she's got bangs, they did something there with a wig or something, and it was sitting, not that I can talk, but it was sitting very high up for a massive forehead that just kind of didn't look natural or normal. And I was like, but maybe I was looking for it because I was thinking about it as they were doing those flashback scenes.
Only other problem of the episode was John getting taken down by Shadow super easy. I'm just like, this guy's on Superman's power level. I really don't think that he should be taken out that easily, basically. But it was interesting. Andrea has been kind of all over the place this season. We saw her, as just kind of the vapid media mogul who just wants clicks and headlines. We saw her try to be the tough girl, the tough villain as she confronts Lena about her technology. And then, the last episode where it was all about the launch of the thing. I'm glad that they finally kind of fleshed her out, but I'm kind of wondering now, where is this Leviathan story going to go? Because they've basically kind of resolved two major portions of it. We know Andrea's involved. We know what she's part of now. So is there now going to be the bigger Leviathan plot unfolding? And we know that Andrea is in the background, is kind of responsible for this. And now that the person that she loves is dead, how is that going to affect her ability to deal with Leviathan? And now that Lena gets to know what Leviathan is, I mean, it's just, I'm not really sure where anything's going anymore.
Which is kind of a good thing. I mean, some of it was, it can be predictable. People in the comments are saying that they knew Andrea was going to be part of Leviathan or a Leviathan operative. She is, but not by her. Like it's being forced upon her, and she was pretty much blackmailed into becoming part of Leviathan. So everybody that we thought was bad, we had William Day. We thought he was a douche, and then he ended up, that's kind of a facade that he's putting on while he investigates Andrea. We thought Andrea was the bad, and she is to a degree, but she is being blackmailed into being a Leviathan operative and doing the things that she had to do because of her love for her father and her family. And Lena, while she's turned bad, we kind of feel for her because we have the backstory of how things have happened for her and how everyone's seemed to, in her life, has betrayed her at some point in her life. So is it any wonder she doesn't trust anybody anymore?
Yeah, the one thing I kept thinking, though, and if you look at Lex and her's relationship and Lex's downfall, it's almost like a sibling dealing with a brother or sister that's an addict.
Mm.
And, his whole thing about wanting to kill Superman just taking over his life, going from somebody who was a sociopath but still not crazy to someone that's completely consumed with hatred for this person. She thought by simply finding this thing that she could save her brother, but she was never going to be able to save Lex. This is where Lex was going, and she has no way of knowing that. But in my head, I'm like, you're really pinning a lot on Andrea when Lex is pretty much responsible for his own actions. And you not able to save Lex, I can see where she feels guilty about that and feels like it's a personal failing. But at the end of the day, it's Lex Luthor. This is what he does. He self-destructs. He could have been, they played with us a lot in the post-Infinite Crisis comics. He could have been the one to cure cancer. He could have been the one to lead humanity to a new golden age, but his failing of being, this utter contempt he has for Superman, it was always going to be his downfall. So it's interesting that she can't see that, but she's also incredibly close to it. So,
yeah,
I'm kind of surprised that Hope hasn't been more of a Trojan horse for Lena, because she is a Leviathan operative. So now she's going to at the end of the episode, she asked Hope for all the information on Leviathan. I don't know if that's going to go well for her.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where that falls, because now that she's finding out about Leviathan, which side will she take? And what are Leviathan's powers? I mean, as Justin says in the comments, how did that old man just suddenly appear in that cave when they first stumbled upon the medallion? I mean, how did they know to be there? Was that a hologram? Was he really there? Like, that just seemed to be bizarre, unexplained.
Yeah, and again, I'm kind of curious, if Lena had fallen down, would they have recruited her?
What would they have used?
Like, because either one of them is useful to them. And I don't feel too bad for Andrea because she went and broke that guy's neck pretty easily. It was to protect her father, but come on, she's a killer. We gotta kind of be real about that. But she was it was a really good showcase for that character and that actress, because I really didn't think much of her until this episode. And I agree. Somebody earlier in the comments said that they looked like Dora the Explorer as they were trumping through the jungle. That's exactly what I said to my wife. I'm like, oh, this is the worst live action adaptation of Dora the Explorer I've ever seen. But good episode. We're what, three more episodes till Crisis?
John's asking what the name of the old man was. They don't reveal any of the names of the Leviathan people. They're all just Leviathan operatives or taskmasters or whatever you want to call them. The old lady, the old man, all of them. They're all just Leviathan faceless or nameless faces.
There was a nice little Easter egg, if I heard it correctly, that the phone that was in direct competition with her father's company was from Lord Industries.
Oh, okay. As in Maxwell.
So I'm like,
Lord.
Was that Maxwell Lord? Oh, that's kind of, again, it's a kind of a cool callback to past characters that have popped up in the past, because that was first season that Maxwell Lord was part of it. With the guy that I always thought looked like Tom Cruise when he was younger.
And the guy that they were making out to be a love interest for Alex before they decided she was gay.
Yeah. Well, it happens.
All right, so that was the episode titled Confidence Women. Michael gave it a 4 out of 5. Tina's asking, do the Leviathan members all have the same powers? No, I don't know. We don't know if they have powers. We just know that they seem to be able to appear when and wherever they want to.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, that they apparently have the ability to give people powers of one kind or another. But then again, she said that it was almost like it's almost like Dorothy clicking her heels. It's like, you had the power to go back all along. You had the power to turn into a shadow all along. You just needed this to activate it.
Justin saying could have been Cord Industries.
I was wondering if I misheard it, but Cord, at that time, Cord was doing pretty well with over on Arrow, because I watched an episode or two when they introduced him, and he was pretty prosperous, but maybe running around with the Legends kind of screwed all that up.
Never know. All right, so we look ahead to episode 7 of season 5, and it's titled Tremors. And here is the should have it. Here is the promo trailer for that episode.
He's an alien with powers of longevity this civilization has never conceived of.
I need to be ready. Welcome to Krypton, old man.
So there you have it. Skinner from X-Files.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Welcome to Krypton, old man.
This is such a weird trailer. It really is.
So
that is a serious Silver Age outfit he's wearing.
Yes, big time. Tremors sees Supergirl finally learn the truth about Lena while tangling with Leviathan. John Jones makes a discovery about his brother's whereabouts. None of that was seen in that trailer.
Yeah, this is one of those trailers that has nothing to do with the synopsis that was released. Though I'm kind of wondering at this point, we've gotten some synopses for the episodes leading to Crisis. I wonder if those are plants.
Yes, because I haven't seen anything official or posted on some of the more reliable websites. As far as the episode after Tremors is supposedly, I'm just grabbing the title now, titled, I'll find it for you in a sec. It's an interesting title. episode, what'll be episode 8 of season 5. It's just loading pretty slowly for me right now. I'll grab it. But yeah, so I haven't seen any beyond this Tremors. I haven't seen any actual official synopsis released for episodes 8 or 9. So just grabbing, here we go. So Supergirl episode 8 of season 5 is supposedly titled The Wrath of Rama Khan. And then we go into Crisis.
That feels weird.
Yes.
That feels really weird. That title. I think that's what kind of tripped my spidey sense. That that's the Wrath of Rama Khan. So all the story title, the episode titles have kind of made sense. Are we gonna go into like an Egyptian thing with John and his brother? I don't know. Maybe I'm just over.
And then we go into Crisis.
Yeah.
Part 1. So there's Tremors next week, or this coming week. Then that episode, which is supposedly titled The Wrath of Rama Khan, which we have no description for whatsoever. And then Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1. Remembering that Supergirl is the episode in which the crisis begins.
So there's a skip week?
So November 17th is Tremors. 24th is that Rama Khan one. So that would be 31st. No, 1st of December. We went through that last week. 1st of December would be, a skip week.
Yeah, which makes sense because in the United States, that's Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay.
So I think it would be interesting if all the shows took a break and then did Crisis. It seems like you want to just run the episodes right up to it, but it gives me a week off, so that's okay. Especially since I'm probably going to be writing a bunch of reviews for all those episodes as they come out.
So Wrath of Khan, people are saying, isn't that's the title of a Star Trek movie, The Wrath of Khan, Rama Khan, Chaka Khan.
God.
So yes, similar, and they could be. They like to do these kinds of things where they play with titles and make you think it's one thing and twist it into another. But yeah. Wait and see what happens with that title if that sticks. So that was Tremors. The description for that. Then there was, as you mentioned, Crisis on Infinite Earths. The CW released a first teaser, a very short 15-second kind of thing, that features a little snippet of Brandon Routh as Kingdom Come Superman. So let's quickly check that out right now. Here is the, if I can find it, the Crisis teaser.
Suit up for the biggest crossover ever.
We've got your backs.
Crisis on Infinite Earths. The CW's crossover event begins Sunday, December 8th. Presented by Boost Mobile, the switch that gives you more.
So there you have it. We've got your back, says Arrow, and we see that quick snippet of Brandon Routh looking bemused as Superman.
And if you freeze it at the very beginning, when they focus in on the Flash, Lex Luthor's in that shot.
Okay, let me see if I can do that.
Suit up.
Yes, Black Lightning is in the Crisis. So where did you see the...
The first shot that it's kind of like a greenish hue to the sky, and it focuses in on the Flash. So back it up a little bit, and standing right next to Supergirl is Lex in that shot.
Ah, there he is there too.
Somebody froze it and posted it on social media. So John Cryer on Twitter joked, did you really think that this crisis was going to be won with a bunch of superheroes and not Lex Luthor, the greatest criminal mind of our time?
So there you have it. Yeah, good catch there. Whoever caught it, for Michael to see it.
Yeah, I was impressed. I was like, see, that's the thing is that I don't think in terms of reaction videos and stuff. And I'm sure there are people that took that, because I thought 15 seconds, that's not a teaser trailer. That's like a crumb. It really didn't do a whole lot for me. But I am assuming there are people out there that once it hits, they start going like frame by frame by frame through it, looking for any little Easter egg or reference or thing that they can pontificate on for like 15 articles.
So true. Very true. So yes, Crisis Part 1 will be on Sunday, December 8th at 8 p.m. as part of Supergirl. Batwoman Part 2, Monday, December 9th. Part 3 is The Flash on Tuesday, December 10th. And then Part 4 is on Arrow, January 14th, Tuesday at 8 p.m. And Part 5 is on DC's Legends of Tomorrow on Tuesday, January 14th at 9 p.m. So the final 2 episodes are back-to-back on the same night, the Tuesday, January 14th, where we obviously have the first 3 episodes in December. Then we have the mid-season finales, the break, the hiatus, and then Part 4 and 5 on the same night, Tuesday, January 14th, when we return.
That's an amazing break, too. I guarantee you, almost guarantee, I'm almost willing to put money down that in the third part, at the end of it, both Kara and Flash are going to die. And then the next episodes are how they bring them back.
Mm-hmm. Interesting indeed. Alright, we're at the halfway point of tonight's program. We're going to take a quick break, play some messages, and then come back with some more TV news, some comic book talk, and much more right after these messages. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Delicious.
And dangerous. First, never touch any appliance without a parent's supervision, and always be careful with kitchen appliances. Keep their cords out of your way and your fingers out of their way. Also, always turn pot handles in, away from the edge of the stove.
So nobody bumps into them and gets hurt.
Now you're cooking.
Now we're back on WGBS TV Live, where, as Michael instructed in the beginning, if you want to be part of our show tonight and talk to us, you head to Skype, search for Superman Homepage, and send us a message saying you want to be part of the show. Hopefully we might have some time tonight. But moving on with some more TV news, Titans Season 3 has been announced. Here's the little bit of a promo video that they released showing the announcement coming fall 2020. Currently in midway through season 2. That's pretty cool. I mean, this was the first live action show that was produced for DC Universe as an original series. Now moving into its 3rd season next year.
Yeah, that's a long wait too. Fall 2020, man, because it seems like the 2nd season came pretty on the heels of the first one. So now they're going to make us wait an entire year. I mean, I know they got other things to work on, but that's if that's their most successful show, then you would think they would want to crank them out a little faster. Though Doom Patrol is starting to film soon too, season 2 of that, and I didn't think that had gotten renewed, so that was good to hear.
Yeah, which was part of people's complaints or concerns about whether DC Universe would continue with HBO Max coming to life. And fact is that, yes, Doom Patrol is getting its second season. That was one of the things that they were touting on the announcement about DC Universe, coming back or sticking around, was that Doom Patrol season 2 was part of, and one of the things that, along with Bizarro TV and other things that they're also doing. DC Universe here to stay. Titans season 3, part of 2020's lineup.
Yeah, it's just I'm sorry. Every time I think of this this thing where they're trying to get people to come up with their own shows, it's just like, we got to save money somewhere, so you guys do all the work for us, please.
So true. And I think today was the last day for submissions for that DCU unscripted thing that they were, asking people to, come up with ideas for. So good work if you were part of that. But Titans season 3 coming out 2020. Season 2 currently underway with more episodes to be released on a weekly basis. Alright, we shift our attention to the comic book side of things, and this past week saw Lois Lane number 5 released on to comic book stores and through Comixology, and our reviewer Mario Benisi liked this one. He says he gave it a 4 out of 5, saying it seems like we're back to the plot after a quick detour with John. Happy that we're back into the original outline of where Rucka wanted to go with this, and was impressed with this particular issue. I'm enjoying Rucka's writing on Lois. I think he has her voice nicely, comes out nicely through his writing.
Yeah, he always had a good handle on her. I'm sure I'll read this series at some point, but since I'm kind of out now. But I one of the things that kind of made me happy when they were starting to ramp up everything with that Leviathan special was that Lois was going to have her own maxi series. And Greg, like, I know him. I guess I should say Greg Rucka. He was one of the people that came into the Superman books during Superstorm, and not only did a really good job with Superman, but he did a fantastic job with Lois, which was good because Chuck Austin was turning her into a shrew in Action Comics. I'm sure there was some fun meetings behind the scenes involving that. But yeah, it was just, if you're going to have anybody work on her now, he's obviously the one you want to go to for a solo series, especially in kind of the Bendis era. Because even though their styles aren't like exactly the same, Rucka's writing style and Bendis's kind of can work well together. So it's not like Matt Fraction writing the goofy Silver Age in the modern era Jimmy Olsen.
True.
It fits within what they're doing.
And then also out this past week was the first issue of Legion of Superheroes number 1. Our reviewer James Lance gave a 4 out of 5, saying that it merited a 5, but the dangling plot threads that was left from what he called the mess of Millennium prevented that, so he gave it a 4 out of 5. But he said it was still a satisfactory start, and the first chapter is a great start to a long overdue series. We obviously have John Kent, Superboy, joining the Legion of Superheroes in the 31st century. Everything's very, very, very much still new to him. He's not sure about where things are at. But I quite enjoyed this issue. I thought it was fun. There was probably a lot packed into it that there were a lot of threads to be picked up, and I imagine that the future issues will latch onto those.
Yeah, I wanted to be excited about a new Legion series,
Mm.
but the more I thought about how John was put into it, I mean, it's something that makes sense. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's poorly written. I'm not saying the artwork is terrible. It's just over in Doomsday Clock, it seemed like they were going to be bringing back the Legion from right before Flashpoint, which is kind of the classic Legion.
Yeah.
And now it feels like Doomsday. It feels like Doomsday Clock is just a giant waste of time at this
Irrelevant.
point. Because it's not going to reestablish the DC universe like it was supposed to. Any kind of ground Johns did, establishing Superman as a preeminent hero of the DC universe again, is completely thrown away. He's about to reveal his identity to the world. I've read more articles, interviews with Bendis about this, and it's just nothing has basic. Everyone's just like, no, listen, read this interview, it'll completely convince you, and it just hasn't. So it's almost like, what was Rebirth all for? I mean, like, I shaved my legs for this? Seriously?
Nice analogy. Well, speaking of which, an interview with Bendis was published by the Washington Post this past week, and there are a few interesting quotes from him about this. He says that it is here to stay. There's no kryptonite, there's no Mr. Mxyzptlk, there's no magic amulet, no Bizarro. It's a hero who gave a lot and needs a little something for himself. Now, he goes on to say that he gets why people might think that this means the end of Clark Kent. He says, but Clark Kent is a huge part of who Superman is. It's who he grew up as. He's not giving up. He's not giving it up. He's sharing it with people. He's saying, this is who I truthfully am. This is how I'm good at both jobs. And I want you to know that so we have a more honest relationship.
That is not the point of Clark Kent. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, God, no. I just hit the roof when I read that. I'm like, you have no understanding of who this character is.
Yes, no. Well, I mean, no. That's kind of the reaction I was looking for, to see what you thought. I mean, Clark Kent. Yeah, I mean, is Superman not being honest because he has a secret identity?
Clark Kent, at his most basic, as a function of Superman, allows Clark to have a normal life. And to suggest, as Bendis does in that quote, that he can't have a normal life unless he's honest with everybody, shows a shocking lack of awareness of what this character is all about. Bendis hates secret identities. He has been on record saying how silly they are. And to frame all of this, see, this is what upsets me. Now it's not so much that they're doing it; it's how they're framing it, and I feel like I'm being gaslit by the creators, because the framing of this now is, well, he's given so much to the world, and now he just wants some time to himself. He has that every time he puts those glasses on. And how do you trust a reporter that is Superman? You can trust Clark Kent. He's just a guy. But how can he continue being a reporter and having anything that he writes be being considered not biased? I mean, it just that whole line of thinking just shows that Bendis just took a left turn somewhere
at Albuquerque.
Yeah, at Albuquerque. That's good. I'm with that. That he took a left turn, and this is him. I think DC has had a pretty strong track record of trying to get rid of the identity. I think this is him doing it, but trying to convince the readership and people like, no, this is really for the best. This is really what Superman would do. And it's just like, no, you're once again, I'm being lied to, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I understand your feelings, and I think I've been already on the record as saying, I'm interested to see where this goes, because it's, it's an interesting angle. It won't stick. As much as he says no kryptonite, there's no Mr. Mix-Up, no magic amulet. The next reboot is only around the corner. Secret Identity will come back. They're just going to run with this for however long the stories that he wants to play out. But yeah, it doesn't make sense to me either, because he just wants some time to himself, or what does he say here? Clark, it's a hero who gave up a lot and needs a little something for himself. Well, outing yourself as Clark Kent takes away something for yourself, because Clark Kent was the time that you had to yourself, because nobody was bothering Clark Kent. Clark Kent as Superman is going to be bothered by everybody, every man and his dog, when he's grabbing a hot dog on the local stand outside the Daily Planet, when he's having a coffee at the cafe. People are not going to leave him alone because they know that he's Superman. So you don't get time to yourself by revealing your identity. That doesn't really make sense to me. But it's a story, and I'm interested to see how that plays out and whether or not he'll regret outing himself.
Yeah, it's one of these things where I honestly believe they're going to do the reveal issue. They've got the specials, because they have the cover from one angle and the cover from another, and they're going to do all that. And then like 6 months later, it's just all going to be forgotten, and it's just going to be straight up Superman stories, because that's easier.
Superman number 17, which is out tomorrow, has this final page where Superman is discussing with Supergirl the idea about what he's going to do, revealing the truth about himself. You'll get to read the review by Adam DeChannel up on the website tomorrow morning at about 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, when we'll be publishing his review. Obviously, the comic book goes on sale tomorrow as well in the morning on Comixology and then at your local comic book store. So, I'll be interested to see. This is the prologue, the prelude, to what's about to happen with this story, the truth, the reveal of Superman's secret identity to the world.
Yeah, and I kind of want to also, keying off of what you just said, I know that it's going to come back at some point, unless they cancel the comics and it's over with, which is, wow, what a way to go out. But I understand that. I understand it's just a story. I understand the Superman is a 80-year-old character, and they've done all these things with him. But that doesn't preclude me from what that basically says to me when I hear it is, just roll with it, essentially.
Right, yes.
I know that's not what you're saying specifically. But for some people, it just makes me feel like, just stop complaining because it doesn't matter. And it's like, well, if it doesn't matter, why are we having this discussion at all? It's not that Bendis is doing it. It's not even that it's going to come back. It's that at some point you have to make a decision of whether or not you're going to keep on the ride. And at this point, they have given me an exit point. They have paused it just enough that I can kind of hop out. And if the ride comes back around and it's what I want to read, then I'll hop back on the ride.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, it's just I've been trying. I really haven't even talked about this. I didn't even go to social media, which is kind of my go-to thing when I'm angry, is I like to complain on Facebook. When I read that, and I knew we would probably cover it here, I didn't even realize I was going to have that visceral reaction. In all honesty, but it just drove me crazy.
No, fair enough, and I guess I'll keep my final judgment till I read the thing, and I guess that's the only thing we can do. We've got our opinions based on what we've heard, but I guess the proof will be in the pudding. So we'll just have to wait and read it. Or not, depending on what your stance is. We have a long-time listener who we haven't heard from in a while, ready to join us. You good to go to bring in John Mark Lax?
Yeah, I'm gonna try this because it's a weird thing. Let me get into.
Or do I do it from here? I think I usually do it, don't I?
Yeah, but I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
Let's do this. And see what that does.
I think I lost Michael. No, I've got Michael still.
No, I'm here. Yeah, we blinked at you. There, Mark?
Hello, Mark.
Says he's unavailable.
Okay. All right.
Maybe you have to try it. I don't know.
Well, we'll push on for the time being. If he says that he's unavailable. Yeah, we'll push on anyway. Looking at these comic books that are available this week. Here is what we have to look forward to. And it's another big week. A few things to check out. We've got DC Superhero Girls Giant #1, 100-page Giant, out this week. We also have a dollar comic, Blackest Night #1, out this week. Event Leviathan, the 6th and final issue of this 6-issue mystery thriller, is out this week and is available in a variant cover. Speaking of Leviathan, as we were in Supergirl. Also out this week is Superman #17. We've been talking about it already, and that is available in this Trinity variant cover out this week as well. There's the Flashpoint box set hardcover, trade paperback collection. So that box set Flashpoint is available this week. Also this week, Justice League Volume 4, the 6th Dimension trade paperback. Then there's this slipcase set of Superman, Batman, 80 Years slipcase set of hardcovers, Detective Comics 80 Years and Action Comics 80 Years, books together in a slipcase collection. Also out this week is the Tales from the Dark Multiverse, Blackest Night #1, and Wonder Twins, the Activate trade paperback, Volume 1 trade paperback, is out this week as well. So a few things. Obviously, Superman #17 is the big one for fans, along with Event Leviathan #6 out this week, tomorrow, Wednesday.
Alrighty, Mark says that he's ready.
Okay.
So let's try this again.
Hello, Mark, you there?
Says calling.
Okay, that's good.
And it says he's unavailable.
Okay. Oh, we'll have to push on.
Obviously, we're having technical issues.
We've only got 5 minutes left of the show anyway, so that would be doing a little bit of injustice to try to get him in. So pushing on, we did also, DC Comics gave us our first look at Green Lantern Black Star #2. Now, what has that got to do with Superman? Well, Superman's pretty heavily involved in this second issue. The first issue hits comic book shelves this week, I think it is, or last week. No, this week. Yeah, it's already available. Anyway, Green Lantern Black Stars #1 is out now. #2, December 4th, and it involves Superman. It's written by Grant Morrison, who had this to say about this particular comic book. He said, "It's my cruelest portrayal of Superman that I've ever done that makes him out to be the worst he can possibly be. I'm hoping people will really dig it because it's almost a roast of modern comics, including my own."
Yeah, it's the worst he could possibly be. Well, I guess he went through enough of trying to make him the best he can possibly be, so that works out. I haven't read any of his Green Lantern yet. It looks fun, at the very least. It's interesting seeing him take on like kind of a space hero again. But yeah, I almost want to read this now to see how much of a piss take it is on modern comics.
Now, in some sad news, we had the unfortunate need to report on the fact that Christopher Dennis, who was the fan who dressed up as Superman for the Hollywood Walk of Fame in Los Angeles, very much a Christopher Reeve lookalike, especially in his younger days, sadly passed away aged 52 this week. We don't know the cause of death at this point in time, but for over 25 years he wowed fans on Hollywood Boulevard, where he was a Superman impersonator, wore the Superman costume well, and had some issues, had some troubles. It wasn't necessarily a straightforward forward life for him, but sadly he passed away this past week, and very sad news. He did also star in a 2007 documentary titled Confessions of a Superhero, which was an interesting story as well.
Yeah, I was really kind of sad to hear about his passing, because I remember that movie. You kind of get to know him a little bit. Now it's all through the lens of the documentary filmmaker, and it was him and that guy that dressed up as the Hulk and the Wonder Woman, and you really got to feel kind of bad for, not bad as in you pitied him, but he dresses up. They dress up as these characters. They can't ask for money. They can only accept, like tips basically. But he seemed like a pretty decent guy at the very least.
Jeffrey Bridges for the Superman homepage actually went and visited him in his apartment back in 2007, and he took heaps of photographs and while interviewing Christopher about his collection, about his lifestyle. And there are over 100 images that he took of the time. He had a pretty good collection there as well in his very small, cramped apartment. But we send our condolences out to his family and friends, and all we can do is tip our hat to one of the better Superman fans out there.
Yeah, I mean, he at least did his best when he was dealing with people to kind of live up to the symbol he was wearing.
Yeah. And an interesting story that crossed my desk this week was in Lincoln, Nebraska. This man had this dying tree out in the front of his house that he didn't want to just remove. He wanted to do something with it, so he created a 7-foot Superman statue out of it by getting a young university student to carve out this for him.
Yeah, that was it's always amazing what people are able to do when they kind of, put their mind to it, essentially. And that's a really cool thing to do, instead of having, cutting it down and having the stump removed and everything, just creating this giant statue. That was, to be fair, it looks like Superman has, been skipping, he's not doing any conditioning or cardio. It's just straight muscle work from beginning to end. He's not going to have a neck, is what I'm saying.
Indeed. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's show. Before we do sign off, I want to thank everyone for watching tonight's episode of WGBS TV Live. Once again, thanks to all those who were part of the YouTube channel commenting with us as we went along tonight. And a huge thank you to you, my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey. Thanks, Mike.
Pleasure as always, Steve.
Now, the complete 1-hour video of tonight's show will remain available on the Superman homepage website and our YouTube channel. If you'd like to watch it in full, maybe you tuned in late and want to watch the parts you missed, you'll be able to do that on our website and through YouTube. Michael and I will be back on Tuesday, November 19th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time for another edition of WGBS TV Live. We look forward to talking with you then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. A huge thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt and Tina Murray. We appreciate your support. And if you want to support the Superman homepage, please head to patreon.com/Superman homepage. I'm Steve Eunice. On behalf of myself and Michael Bailey, thanks for watching WGBS TV Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.